I gotta, but I agree with what I'm saying. I think, I feel like I didn't, yeah. I'm not even if it's about saying that to do with that's the way application project, and so like actually, so I even can see back at you know, do that.
Dude, I was like, that's like not like that should be messaging me. Literally, like no matter what you're making,
Yeah.
like it made no sense.
Yeah, that's what I'll submit it, like, if like, it'd be awful, but like.
Yeah. Well, what do you think of that?
Well,
Yeah.
my, so it's, so I like, it really. Never.
Yeah.
I didn't know if I could be.
Yeah. No, like,
Really, it's
like you really want and how would you do this?
Yeah. That very development.
I did.
Yeah, I did this. Yeah, I did. But area. Yeah. I didn't know if I was. I needed on the side
Yeah.
because he like actual.
Yeah.
At least I'm.
Like, good. I think that's good.
Really hard. It makes no sense. I think formal. I don't know. Formal. Or form.
Oh, yeah, okay, I know you got it. That's the thing.
So she gave me 41. So I looked at like question that I did wrong. So I looked at it. I thought you had really. A's on every other exam. But that one thought you were, you know, um, like straight back, like 8 to and I was like, I don't know what I said they're wrong. She was like, okay. I don't know what I said to say for this.
Well, you can also do.
Going with six,
Yeah.
with 10, but gave it that's like thing. What I stuff.
We started it. You know,
Seemed really. And you're like,
yeah. Yes. Plus, I do.
yeah, I don't either.
I still have to like like
I
still have
do
to
that.
do it for last part for 306 literacy.
Yeah.
I still have to finish like my last group. I was like, I didn't realize you could.
No, they're not hard. There's just so much like stuff you can read about. Do it. So like, and it's like I like. I have to look at it. I don't know what to play, and I don't know if it's like what I need this for.
Did you?
Um, no, no,
I'm like, on the last, but then there's like, I'm trying to get it done.
I didn't say it. Oh,
I did one.
what did you take it?
I put it down. So just like in making like how can I say that like I see the future like by your mom.
Yeah.
Like it makes no sense. That's what I did.
I'm gonna make it. So I gotta work tomorrow, so tomorrow we're gonna hear the sliding because I'm like, oh, I get to rest tomorrow, and finish up all my work. Nah. I do work. I got turned every F in my other testing classes to B's. So that's not. Those funny part is everything we could help in the 90s. So by the time I could send like a long time ago, I get stressed. She had nothing in it. Too late. I'm like, sitting in, I don't know what grade. That's for it. Honestly, I'm making up the community thing at this point. That would get me to one another letter grade. So once you do that, we're good.
But the last that I got was week 6 again, but
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
and the parents plan. Just like they just for us and just like put it in our thing. If we do like it's like that's a like a
Yeah. I didn't even know like go down there.
And I honestly don't know what my grade is in this class, and I have to know the same other fact that I never released it to you. I feel like at this point, we should know what our grades are in this class.
like document.
Yeah, she gets it decently fast. Yeah, that paper that they put about observation, I like listen, like it's gonna be 5 pages. I'm gonna be a genius. This is all you got.
I think mine is like a total like
Nah, I didn't buy it. I said this is for the observation paper. She said, I said, like, what if you did it in 5 pages? Like, you must be a genius. I'm like, Bible, because my genius cap on that's particularly.
so I didn't do my observation until the day after we got an extension on this yeah, so for me I'm just like
I gave her everything and everything that I could. Honestly, I did shortchange some parts that could have been longer, but I did enough to show that I did parts. I was like, look at it, oh my God. This is good. I sat there for 3 days writing that, and I kept like saying, I don't know. Here's the piece that I say. I'm gonna go to that's not the point. I'm gonna go to the phone. I'm gonna do the weekend, you know. Maybe it's I don't know if like not go to the class after, find out who the participation was, so about what it is. Not take that hit.
but it's down right. I really
No, I wasn't more sure if it was my first. I was like, ah, good.
put it in the now.
Do we know this class next week? So, right? So, yeah.
I don't have any months to do it.
So,
It's like, I don't know what it is. So it says
Yeah.
that is like It's even great.
But this is legal, but
And with
really.
yeah, I believe it was last. I was
Yeah.
I didn't put down.
Yeah.
I got it from later.
Yeah.
And the following she goes, I'm there with like encouraging us with her, but I'm like, no point in anything.
Those are really good. They're really, they're easy. Like I don't, I'm doing it. That's my longest on the side. It's time consuming. I still have to do the module doing reflection.
Yeah,
I have to do it. I'm probably gonna do it tomorrow.
For this class?
Yeah. I feel like there's no flow. So mostly my D2L updates be like, hey, but I didn't get an update.
Yeah, I didn't see it until like later, like the next day or something.
It might be that they get like, hey, this is due, it's approaching.
Yeah.
You should be doing this, right? Like, and usually it's 2 days before it's due. I have it like the next day. Never let.
Yeah, that's literally what I
said,
did.
I didn't do everything else I'm doing.
Yeah, I still haven't done that one.
I saw that.
Really? Yeah. That don't do it word for word.
Yeah.
For work, oh, I don't think I'm doing. This one caught me off guard because it didn't pop up like normal for me. But usually D2L, they do set on a schedule on calendar.
Yeah.
It should pop up. I had myself 2 days before something to do, like, hey, let you know, this thing's approaching.
Exactly.
You should do it.
That popped up, and then also on top of that, like, no one in the group had even like pointed out that we had like a thing. I guess everyone just realized that they.
Honestly, I didn't even know. So
Yeah,
I was
same.
like, okay, I'm taking this out. But it comes on the bottom. I always was like,
Exactly. That's
always
what I
like,
did.
and these are things on the top of the too. So I'm like, okay, I actually can do it.
Yeah.
Like I click it something. And also, now I know I'm good. When I open D2L, all my classes show up, and on the side it says things due this
Yeah,
week, and it shows me due dates. And I look at the due dates. I'm like, hey, get that done, get that done. But like, if it doesn't show me it on my due date list, jump on it.
I didn't even notice it until like the day after or something.
Yeah, so I told myself I'll get it done today.
And if you also did like no, you know,
So I'm just gonna do what I can do and call
Yeah.
it for all the problems with it.
pretty much.
That's what we got. Mm. Yeah. I guess you're on. See, that's it. But I think we have it. Also, we're thinking as well as we thought it's really this story. About to be 28. It's getting closer. Yeah, you know. Like one of my there by the government. They go over to try to get all of so that. The normally I say, well, they use that whole be your mom, but I'm telling you. Oh, say that. I don't know if I feel better, but
Oh, yeah. But I literally need my word.
So, you know,
We just voted on it and sit on it.
This has mine. Yeah.
I was like, I mean, I had. She was. In the black. That's what did you say about? She was.
Maybe that's why they can't, but maybe all the middle stuff, you definitely fun. It's just.
No, the middle, I like, you know.
Right. And look at the way that you. All right, so right.
I see down the closing.
Because I was like, what if you do? Like, the 5 minutes, it's like, oh. Thank you. Yeah. It's talking about it. So what you saying? Sure. One second. What's it? Yeah. John.
I really just.
Yeah. That's you just.
I just like making my own. Yep, that's the new one. Like reader, like teacher of. It's done. But you're basically observing them. Yeah.
We have before everything. Yeah.
There were quiz.
There we go. Yeah. We don't have that.
I
Just. We start with the.
You miss something. Yeah, I had all the things from the first grade and the grade. Have you looked at it? Oh. I should have been had it, okay.
So. Down. Not necessarily, but it's kind of like the end of the workload. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah. I mean, I can't wait for this first to be over and just like relax. I mean, with working and like kind of juggling school too, it's a lot. I feel like this semester with like all the other semesters that I like been in school, I felt like I don't know, there was like always assignments every day. I wasn't too used to it when I used to do special ed. It was like just projects that were due. But like I felt like there was just so many assignments that I didn't know like if I'm like where they're coming from and but I mean I ended up managing all of it, but it slowed it down a little bit. Yeah, 4. But I'm taking an elective they needed me to take. No, it's not as much, no. Not like a use. So it just seems like what happened to me. Just so many. Well, you know, I bring this up because I wanted to, I would be a little bit more careful because there are so many things that you expect in school. And Katya will tell you that. She said, and but it's not only Katya who will tell you that, it's also Turon, because books, students, everything in the middle class, and you just never know what's going to come up from and especially schools. So we can't always do conversation for students and for kids. We look forward to the beginning of the semester and we hope that we'll have a good year, right? And then we get into the school and start working. And then all of a sudden we don't know what to do next because of that. So I want you to be thinking about that. Your thoughts as you go into school. And I think she may probably already was that. But since it's about, you know, Islamic school, so we probably will have some experiences. But as you prepare for this profession, just think about the excitement you have from one day to the next to go to the school, but also be prepared for the unexpected things that we hope for. Yeah. And there are some years that I just don't have this, but you just never know what's going to happen from one day to the next. And from good day with your students, but there's always the element of expecting a good day today, but just have at the back of your something that would be there. So if you're the type of person who's, you know, have to have control over one time to the next, or 1 minute to the next, you need to be thinking to change because it's just. Do you want to share some of your experiences that in that regard?
I think the kids can definitely tell that the end of the year is coming. We were just saying how, we have to remember that sometimes parents, when they're at home with kids, they'll tell them like Thanksgiving's coming up, so that means all this family's coming over. After that, we have the holidays, we're gonna go do this, we're gonna go do that. So I think they come to school and they have a lot of anticipation in them for, break is coming up, this exciting time of the year is coming up, and it's more difficult to manage, but it's not impossible. But it definitely takes a lot of support staff. I've also just been in the middle school the past few weeks, which has been disgusting. So I'm making it through, but I definitely wish I was with the younger kids a little bit more. So it's a little different, but you kind of just have to take it day by day.
So our answer job, say just for
I mean, I follow a very loose routine, because it's more like, because I meet with my classes once a week. And it's regular, so it's not really an objective that they have to or after. But it's still like expected for you. So what I end up doing is, so it's like, yeah. No, the days are up before, so when I was special, but then for the end of the year, I kind of give up. So like, all right, we know the rules, go for it.
But they don't have to. They have to. That's your work.
Well, I mean, putting in the have to,
Or it's choice.
it's a big sign up, it's recreation.
That's the thing. So that's very different from school.
Mm.
But yeah, yes. What's the experience? How do you deal with the unexpected?
So I guess my good example was 2 weeks ago. So on Halloween, I decided not to have class because middle schoolers don't want them. They're not going to work my program. So week after that, we come back for our dance class. We have it a goal, finish the class, finish the new dance we have before our performance on the 5th. We don't have class next week. They all come in just crazy because they haven't seen me for a week. So, that happens. We try to do our normal routine of freeze dance, goes fine. If we line up in their positions, get through the first dance, to the second dance, new dance time. Kid decides to do a cartwheel randomly, hits other girl in the forehead, and now we're doing instrument for it. Now to do that on paper while I'm still doing class, calming them down, punish them by saying no game, then feel bad, but take it back. We have a silent time. And I re-scrambled, got the class together for the last 45 minutes. We did games for the last 10, but we got the dance done. At the end of all that, girl cried, well, like knock on the head, talk to parent, all of that happened. And never happened for the 10 weeks before that. But right then and there, they lost their minds. And you just gotta adapt. I just adapted to it. Like, I could have punished them, I could have said no games, I could have said allowed me one. But I was like, took a deep breath, make sure the girl was okay, because she was fine. She was like, oh yeah, I'm fine. Like, I was like, cool. I even said, like, what's the rules on cartwheels? They're like, we never said there was no rules on cartwheels. Yes, I did. It's actually on the board. And I point to the board. They're like, oh yeah, we forgot about those rules. And I'm like, yeah. It takes time. They know the school, they know the section's almost over, they know the big performance is coming. They know that they don't have to come see me no more for at least a month after this is over. And they're starting to get antsy. But even yesterday when I had them, they were like, oh, games. I'm like, you guys know the routine. It's this to that to this. And we have an objective. You have to reach these goals before they can like do the fun thing. But like since they know it's ending, they know I don't really have any punishments left to give them. Like the kids know when you're out of punishments. They know when you're lying. So you shouldn't just lie. But yeah, like it's unexpected. I literally have kids literally lost themselves in the bathroom yesterday, accidentally. And I had to like jimmy rig the bathroom lock and like writing some report on that. Like, how does this happen? I don't know. But like you just breathe through it. So Yeah.
I'm a irregular. I'm only work 3 days. I'm a irregular, not considered part-time.
That's just. That's just. I want to that at the back of it. They actually. So all of this stress. Choose stress. So that's really not. Is just really the stress. That was one student who became roommate at all. That was one student that said, why in the world did you go and work? You're already working full time in a school. Why did you have to go and work at Walgreens? 16 hours a week. She looked at me and she said, that's my worst fear. That's the way. So things like that. But this one, she's like, so I'm saying that to this is the difference at this moment that I believe this of me. It's just for just tiny little bit. But that's what I want to explain. Once we say yes, that's that. So she's that check it. That's how you do it.
I guess pretty well.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Okay. How about she do it? Other than that. I think it's really fun. I go to work, I school. Yeah. Store. And then I'll put it.
Mm.
two different types of people. It's not as if you're looking at these schools. But that's the answer to a lot of people. So, we're going to be having platform issues. That's all the patient. That's going to be on the part of the students. So it doesn't just, it looks like it's forever, but it doesn't. So just be clear. That's kind of. So, so that people. The next thing is. What children. Put your cameras on.
Jessica, Jocelyn, and the Maria, the Marie, yeah.
So how.
That part.
You have to.
Yeah, for that, the survey.
Okay, so.
Hmm.
Have problems.
I'm about like, I just need to come up with the questions for the survey first, and then like finding people to do the survey.
Oh, I see. So you still need trouble.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Facebook groups that I'm in a part of for our area. So I know a lot of the admins and stuff, so the post our surveys in there. And we'll gather material, the data from that, or it's a little bit easier. And I do have the luxury of working next to the neighborhood, so I can host an event as well. Facebook is your first space.
Hmm.
Yeah, we did the same thing. We met over Zoom last week and Karina and a few of our group members had kind of put together the resources that we had found. So we kind of made like a checklist Google form. So we made that this weekend and basically just like things that you've used in the past, what are things you'd be interested in using, and then at the end we put a link tree of like all the links to the things that we were able to find. So I just found the list of the schools in the area and I was just gonna send the survey to the admin and say if there's any staff members or families that are interested in doing it. You know. I found out one of my coworkers used to live in Alvin Park, so I just sent it to her today. She said she would send it out to family as well. Especially all right, so right, so let me know to this inside. Let me know about the concept of this, the questions or resources that we people don't know of this very. When did you know that existed? Or how did you know that was even there? You know, so part of it is because it just didn't work from home. Don't have time for so let me know if you need help. Thank you for parents to conferences. Some are easier to open. Just, some are just click on and some about this first. So anyway, thank you. Mrs. Nestle was here to cover for me. So, and so what she was trying to get was to do this assignment as if you were teaching a that is something that so that's what she was trying to get. So I don't think we have an opportunity to see how they do it. She wanted to also just she was working so so really all this is there that right. So that's going to today. This is going to be all of the new chapters, and this chapter have been very interesting chapters. 13, 14. Chapter 13 is city. Different concerns around special needs. The last chapter is just when you have to deal with parents who hope that the things with those chapters. And I wrote my laptop and it works and now it is not. So I have no idea what's happening with this machine over here.
Then, look at this chapter. This chapter. Just not the those looks at the particular so I like all the ones to go over to this side. All the two in the middle and all the three to this side. So I'll take this one. But, but we are good students. We're not apolitical. But we're good students. So what is so what are the benefits we're going to get from this is the patient think about this. That is something that we're supposed to do for so this also to do that. Work is to show set up in my life. Just about how things are navigating working with their children. We used to have staff who will come to us, but child, very close to higher. What do you think of it? Because that which was first child of the site, how it impacted them. They simply things become being achieved. So sometimes all of these all the books that are and sometimes you have feeling for sometimes not unbelievable. Sometimes never funded, but I want to think about a couple of those concepts. What that what that
So please. Just right. So. So. I know that there's. But it's definitely. So big, download. That's interesting. I think now that it's like what's so we what the book said that's that and probably this book was like it was about 20 look at them like paperwork that's what I have. I bring this down to the wonderful. So, that's bringing in this difficult to love advice without one. So, it's not, it's a little, it's a friend, it's one of the single, beneficial in the.
These rights. We are probably expect certain way. So.
But it's.
Scared.
Basically, it's like directly. Like this. Not
Yeah.
it's like something. Doesn't open the soul.
A lot. I know that one.
Yeah.
Just put the tree and then that one happens. You give us a lot of.
Yeah.
It's that.
Doesn't open the I know so I tell you the speech there's not really your business, the best thing that so that was like, yeah. So songs that comes up to the older generation. Yeah, and I feel like it's gonna. Spent so much time in it, especially family. Like I noticed so much, and like how do you go very weird about so like so the back was they have one. Especially on children that yeah, I should just said this part. Yeah. Yeah. And just like this chapter, like what yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's just because it's funny back You know what, it's a lot. Those something is self-contained, but a lot of the something is trying to so it's the blended group that is something they go from self into the blended.
And like, and then everyone else.
She didn't take a letter.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, separate the whole thing.
I got you.
It's the blended room, so handle perspective. And then.
Yeah, she's not.
It's not, I feel like it's a spot.
Yeah.
What, and then like, first class, they start to get over like that, and they're like, first, they need to like, so I'm learning to be more self-sufficient, and I'm trying to take the long, that's something. Adding on an extra hour. They had, two work homework, so like, zero.
Yeah.
So what?
Yeah. Kindergarten teacher made and please let them show one. Right to one. Eight on Mary and right to one. There are areas of the internet. What the only school. Luckily, I worked for another special ed school. It was like,
and then,
it's a.
Yeah.
someone
The curriculum we have is that I'm having another terminology, we have a lot of them. Before kind of like, we're not sure, you know, for that.
is that what I'm about?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's another thing.
Because like most dad and I know like parents pop on the phone now and they're like, you know, different.
More programs, it's.
You know, each of you would
Figure out what you're doing, find other friends.
Yeah. I heard that. So, we're supposed to get
yeah. Like which Michael Jackson was that? Was it like before the bird or like after the bird? Yeah. Another thing that was like it's like in the link for this or whichever one was.
She'll have no doubt. I know she'll call me. I'll just stay here and like speak to it. She won't go and we have the high school. I don't know. I started working there.
Sometimes it's kind of like, somebody can have to do this by talking for a moment, and work with the group that people see me working with the other ones.
Come back.
Join in, a lot of this is myself for a specialized teacher who did international. All she can do is allow work one-on-one. And a majority of the parents that allow you guys in America, a lot of the parents probably for that. A lot of it is parents don't have that. These are all. The people you just had enough to know. I don't even know what. What you're asking me to do in this. So like. And I just say not. I think the more affluent areas and other neighborhoods that have resources, like that one word. Like they're in a community that like every teacher in high school knows exactly what exactly happened. That's why they're able to take in so many questions.
Yeah, who would do that?
Whereas we have like teachers that are professionals that can work in a special organization. I know. So, but a lot of that was like that year communication and that's
Thank you. I saw all the notes from your tutor. Oh, yeah. Yeah. You always send me notes when you go up there. So that's something you go there all the time.
Yeah, yeah.
So very helpful to me.
Yeah.
It's a. So we're now. Like, it's on your tablet. Like, we really had to. Plus the interest.
We do, so we have that's what we have like the items, it's basically going to know all of them. We're saying, regardless of if we have a in your class and you fall in that. Assess like functional. And that probably is like more helpful, we prevention. Then we can say, you know, so and so, might have been very friends. Or stop. Saying like, we're in like, yes.
Well, I didn't turn in everything. I still passed the class. The journal, I only did the first one. And then I tried to do the second and third one. I just turned in like a few. I still passed it. Yeah. Yeah, I was turning in those other ones late, but the professor very late, very late. Yeah. About the clinical?
But I don't know if it's that take it. Which said like it's optional, but it's suggested. It's like it looks good. So much now.
I did it already. I did it this past summer. I was at the school like for 2 days each week. 2 or 3 days.
Was it always like the same consistent days, or was it like it switched up?
For me, I also met with the teacher one time, and then I started like late in April, and then I did miss like 2 days.
Oh, okay.
But the school starts at 9 to 4, and I arrived like early. So they said I asked the professor. They said those time you arrive there, it can count 3 hours too. So like it'll be more. You can count more hours like that.
So yeah, kind of just like meeting with the teacher and trying to see how flexible they are.
Yeah, the first teacher I met with, she said she's very flexible with the hours, and then I chose my hours and stuff. Yeah.
Would you do like 8 hours a day, or like 7 hours?
I did the full 9 to 4 for, and I arrived at their school like 7:30 because my little brothers have the school right next to that school. Yeah, so get there like 7:45, 7:30 sometimes. Yeah.
Did you get to choose the school, or did they choose it for you?
They chose it for me, but like I asked, could it be like near where I'm working, or like because my brothers are there at, or like my old school, but they just chose it there for me because it's closer and I don't drive.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
that was also part of it.
They like accommodated it.
Yeah, for me. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, the first chapter, so let's start from chapter 15. And so I'm ready to feel the book.
So, chapter 13, the title of the chapter was working with families from diverse backgrounds. So, we were kind of summarizing and adding on ideas as well. So, we were saying that it's important for teachers to recognize and be open to other perspectives and diversity of other students. Knowledge on different cultures and respect is also crucial. It's important for teachers to emphasize like there are equality and that like no one person is better than the other for the children, so they get that. And then both parents and teachers come from different cultures, and it's important to put like differences aside and come together for the students if they have differences. And we're also saying that teachers need to be empathetic and patient, for like non-English teachers. And we were also saying like a good idea for students would be to like provide different pictures in the class of like different cultural backgrounds, so like all the students feel comfortable and included. We were saying like different like dolls in the classroom, like so that like children be like, oh, like that looks like me, and like different books as well, like with like maybe like their languages and like different books and like like that.
So I want your group to participate as well and tell me some of the things
So we now have this, I told you to talk about the, what we see in Chicago now is this, around involved people just coming in Chicago, or being trusted in Chicago. And, how do you think this is impacting schools? Teachers, especially, your school. I just use zero. Some people in your group would need to say something. Class. That's one. Stressful. That's interesting. But that's very interesting.
With so many of them, like, coming to the school at once, kind of, you have to prevent the classroom being split, being like, those were there before, and being like the regular students, and then the new students who really share a culture, and you have to prevent them, like, divide and make groups, and you have to find ways to, like, make them acknowledge each other as, like, know their differences, but make them not focus on the differences.
Just kidding. You know, you know that, high schools are really just celebration. Just sitting aside, and you're in the, you're only part of the group if you speak it something like that. So that can be very, very exciting to see. And in some instances, the part about kids who just sit back, they see the way friends, language, and that just needs to. So that's a really good kind of thing that you mentioned. And it doesn't happen only in high schools, it starts from very, very comfort too. I have a book on my shelf called You Can't Save the Kids, which is a book that targeted to kindergarten students. And the person who wrote it was his family kindergarten say things like, oh, you have to with me, you know, you have to with me, something like that. Or you look different or something like that. Yeah, looks like, things like that. So I think it's kind of brutal. You didn't know that. So so that's the title of the book. We can truly put. So our rule in our classes for new people who come or somebody doesn't look like we tend to that the class belongs to us. So that's a really good concept. But I think we shouldn't stop and think about it. It should actually get everywhere, including with adults. Yeah. How about your experience?
So like I know that teacher school there, because I was in the install program from the school to like school. So like what she did is that when we very first activity she had us do is like the whole class, like present things about their future. So like if we had like some students who were like who had the same, so like we had them up with groups. And then like they would talk about like the differences from whatever part of the they were from. And then they would bring in food and like the history and like the religion of stuff out. So like it did help like make the class where everyone one thing.
And you're teaching that. And that was in middle school?
High school.
Oh, in high school. So you can see that, I mean, this particular teacher was trying to think of special situations in a place that developed based on the just based on characteristics and just very, you know, um,
For me, there was a family that last year, I think one of the immigrant families, they came to our daycare. Lived next to our office for a little bit, and they moved out. But their kids still comes to the daycare and after school program. When they went to school, they didn't really know English, but like after they attended school, they somehow they were able to learn English, and the our staff member was surprised, and the teacher was surprised by that. Even the parents too.
so they're learning English. Yeah, I think. What I want to make a point about something that, um, and yes, definitely, they're going to have it from, I looked at you because I thought, oh, did you talk to this? Everybody knows me. So she works in the school, and she has a huge number of new kids in her school, and um, and she's a teenager, one of these classrooms. And so that's one of the things I just want to say about is that the population of the classroom just what, you know, just became really huge, to the point that as a, she's the only one in my lead teacher in this stage. So she, it seems as if a lot of this, where she's trying to support all these families, and the work have just been overwhelming too. And her school is not a bilingual school, which is also so. So you're absolutely correct when you said that. I'm sure you probably have something, but that's one of the things that's happened in schools is really population. Yet at the same time, I see the excitement of these spaces and the students that are going to school or something like that, just very excited. And they're very excited to speak English. You know, it's a new language for them, it's a new experience for them. And it's just really fascinating to see some of the experiences. I really like some of the talked about how teachers are at the forefront of this. Say, you know, they're very proactive. Say, okay, what are the problems that, yeah. Because what Alpha has said can totally happen. And not only can it happen because of this new kids who are coming, you know, like who is going to be left out? Is it the new kids who are coming in, or is it the kids who are there? Like who is going to be going in? And you see, when things like that happen, usually it becomes a vicious cycle. Where people kind of band together and go, oh, like this person understands language, they understand dialect, can talk to them. Um, opposed to the people who are can already speak English, and they just feel like they know everything. You know, so it's teachers being in front of that. By that I mean being very proactive. Think about all the kinds of things that can go wrong in the situation and try to get in front of that before that when they are making the kinds of strategic curriculum ideas like the one that she it. Where nobody's been left out, is not important. So that becomes very clear. So I am glad that you raised all these points and these questions. I studied the history of the different groups of people in the at a point for the paper that I done very, very you know that there was once upon a time the Irish were you know, if you have ever heard about Chicago fire, there is how, you know,
there's no evidence that Mrs. O'Leary had a cow. That's the first thing, but that was given to Mrs. O'Leary. And there is absolutely no evidence that, it was her cow that actually caused the fire to happen. But at that point in time, the Ministry of the United States, the Irish one knew they had just been running away from famine in Ireland because of there was a potato famine, and they were coming into various parts of the United States. They weren't, but they were so discriminated against at that point in time that they pinned the Chicago fire and her cow. So you can see how history just has continued to repeat itself, which is very unfortunate. Because again, one of the things about history is that if we are not students of history, history continues to repeat itself. And then I looked at how different groups of people were called different names. It didn't even matter, like Eastern Europeans were the people who were not wanted once upon a time, and of course you have the Irish who are coming because of the potato famine and things like that. So if you look at the history, number one, it makes you to me, it just because of my positive outlook on life, a lot of it just comes to pass. Like, oh, okay, that's very interesting. But when you really think about it, I'm sure it wasn't important. But now you see they're part of the group and everything like that. But who would have remembered that at the time they were so ignorant? They had children, they were Catholics and things like that. So all of that really makes the people who were already there in time. So and then as more groups came in, so many more different kinds of discrimination. So, but what you're saying and what I heard this issue, as teachers, we need to get in front of that. We need to make sure that we anticipate those kinds of things and we need to do it quickly. A friend of mine was really, really good about our case. So because she was going to be a student with 5 for the minors. And before this time, we talked about this. We talked about what it means not to see. We had little kids close their each other all just close your eyes to what does it mean like when she was that boy not only did she do that, she started to talk about, okay, let's find out who is going to help this person today. Who is going to help this person to the water fountain today? Who is going to help this boy that we are expecting to go into the bathroom today? Who is going to help make sure that he washes his hands and things like that. So this was before the chapter. So you had a long list of little kids who had already signed up to help us before he did the class. So you had a welcoming community in the classroom when that child was actually and the chapter in the so she had a whole discussion with friends, they read about different ways of kind of tough times. Sometimes some people do that, and sometimes some people are not. Something that you acquire because of an injury, an accident, and because of so so they talked about all of these things before that child. So this was a teacher who was in front of the situation, and you have a welcoming class. There's anything that from that anytime you're introducing children with their friends into the classroom, you need to protect your kids. The case of the immigrants of the new friends, children who are coming in, that's something that I think most of it was not anticipated. Just happened. question, but then now we know that we've got coming, so what we do now that we and then this way you already have people who are there. What can you do to feel that Sarah said, look, you know, all the kids know that they're there. So those are So I'm going to give us a quick break, and then we'll come back and look at chapter 14. I brought us some snacks, just so that we can get some snacks. But this right here needs in everything like this. And he must do that teach search for. That's why. Years of life for one.
to the foster kids, I had, there was four of them, and then one of them was, the brother. They are no possible. We kind of had, like, we didn't want it to come. The sister, like, physical with us. She would pick, she hit me a lot. She, like, her mom, she, like, tried to stop the, husband, like, and, like, to us, like, they're, like, aggressive, and these, when they were, like, 2 years old, and they were, like, talking back, and this was a girl, and they had to admit her into a hospital because this was what she had mixed emotions. So in a second, and then 1 second, and it was like, it was very, like, traumatizing for the other students that saw that, and I kind of was scared to come. Didn't want to come, saw, like, us getting hurt. They don't want to see that. So once kind of got them out, we don't want to, we want to help them, but, like, if you're getting physical, like, it was really hard. And the experience that I went through, I, like, I don't know how other, like, handle it, and are able to handle that. But not. Yeah, that's
Chapter itself, it started off talking about, families that were going through divorce, which I thought was an interesting way to feed into also working with families that have children with special needs, because when you are separating in a family, that is such a change that a lot of the signs that children will show in the classroom obviously aren't the same or synonymous, but can be similar to those of kids with special needs, because they need, special services in that time, whether it's socially, emotionally, or even if it is like neglect or abuse wise, and you just need physical resources. We started off kind of talking about that, and then as it talked more about working with families that have children with disabilities, we all kind of picked instances from our own personal experiences, whether it be in the classroom, having a family member with a disability. I know a few of us were saying that we have siblings that grew up with IEPs. And so comparing the way that we were, raised in the school system in comparison to how they had to go through school, very unique. Similar to what Nina. I speak some Nina and me, I'm sorry. Similar to what yes, that's what I thought. Similar to what Nina was saying, I was mentioning how we had a student last year who came in the, like, not even the middle of the preschool year. She came in like, there was only 2 months left. But they really wanted her in because mom and dad just separated. Dad was unfortunately abusing the family, and so mom, little girl, and little brother were in shelter for probably a few weeks while she was in school. And she was just very withdrawn and very just emotionally confused. And she's made a lot of progress. I was with her today, and something that I think is so interesting in our conversation too that we're talking about is today was her birthday. And she could not figure out why people were celebrating. She was so confused and didn't want to wear the birthday crown, didn't want anyone to sing happy birthday. All she kind of wanted to do was like see the social worker, go on her walk that she does, and just have a normal day. And it was tough because everyone else was like, it's Taylor's birthday, we want to celebrate with her. But we kind of had to respect, like, she doesn't want to celebrate. That's okay, that happens sometimes. But I feel like those scenarios where at least the parent, mom's very, she's very persistent. She tries, she wants her to be successful. But we definitely all kind of came under the same agreement that there's a lot of special needs children that we see coming into the schools that in the kindest way, their parents also have special needs, that their parents don't really understand why we're, mentioning that we need interventions or why IEPs are beneficial because they just really don't understand it themselves. Yes.
We also talked about how like the school systems due to like either funding or lack of hiring, like in like a lot of STEM classes are like self-contained, then there's blended. Usually when it's blended, you just have a teacher, a main teacher and a STEM or a teacher, STEM teacher to be in there to help the kids, students with individual needs and IEPs, but that happens a lot in the preschool grade level, but in kindergarten, when you get past that, there's less teachers to be in that room with the co-teacher, and the co-teacher gives them in a compromising position where they have a whole classroom, maybe 1, 2, or 3 are blended in there, and they can't really help them the way they should get. You don't have that ability to give an individual and have the whole class, and then to have to explain to a student who doesn't have that disability or IEP that, hey, you can't do that, or like they get extra time on this for that, and the bullying that can occur, and like the other things that it's already hard enough for teachers to deal with in a regular classroom, but now in the classroom without the extra aid due to your financial school reasons or just not hiring enough people for that, cause the issue where most teachers don't even follow the IEPs. And like, even if they're giving to them, they don't follow it because it's just too much extra work on top of the workload they're already doing. When it causes that child to even fall further behind, where like they may have it but never get the tools needed to use it.
It's really unfortunate because so it's a really good idea when it's started. A lot of teachers do struggle with this. Based on the application for this, while you pushing us, while you integrating children with special needs classrooms and that would huge pushback. If you don't know about some of the students, and just not just even society, wise parents. There was just a huge pushback. There are so many questions. How is this going to work?
There's court cases on it. Like the specific requirements to be either like a single, like a tape all all of them at one time, or do they give them each set of requirements to be at the order?
And it took a while for the school system to get. So at first it was like, how, so every parent was thinking about this stuff. How is my child going to learn this stuff? And it took a while before the school system could learn this stuff. So the, politicians, they make all these rules for stuff. But anyway, that's beside the point. So they just made the blanket rule that they were going to integrate all the kids. So all the parents were up in arms, like, how is my child going to learn? And the teachers were all up in arms. We don't have the education for this. We're not special ed teachers, we're general education teachers and things like that. So it took a while for everything to settle down. For the school to realize that, okay, we cannot integrate everybody, that there are some classrooms that actually still need separate. Because it means non-verbal kids with verbal kids, and that can cause it too. So there are advantages and disadvantages. If you have non-verbal kids who are skills to sort of that's in the language, or also spectrum with autism, that when you put them together with education students. So it was really it was very, very good. So it was at least at some point in the but one thing that was promised to teachers was what you just said, John. And that was that would be just in the classroom. Have a real teacher, and then you're going to have a special teacher to help you. So teachers simmered down, they accepted this, but the problem is that of funding and having enough resources to go around. And some of the stories that I tell you and things that I saw, yes, is because of lack of money. They just didn't even have a social work for this particular school. So you have 6-year-olds who are punching their teachers' face, and just really slamming desks against their knuckles and things like that. It was so bad. So I met some of the kids when they got into second grade, and they were now getting services. So what Nina was saying, right? We can just really provide the resources for these kids. There was a particular girl, one of us, was so she would not look at me. So she's on this point. She was so angry all the time. She was going to punch the teacher all the time. All her things were the same, like calling her and things like that. It didn't matter what the teacher did. But she started to get served. And I would see her what leads to that. I would think, oh my goodness, look at you. What you changed a lot, you grow bigger and everything. She would actually make an attempt at this. She did stop before she didn't care. She just kept going. So services are very helpful for these kids. So she was getting counseling, she was being supported with social cues, and because she didn't have it, just really how to relate to other people. It was just very, very hard. So everything I mentioned are very different pieces of, yes, integration is good, but you need services. You can't just put them there and expect them to be thriving. It just doesn't happen like that without providing the resources. And the case for social work is so high too that the is at least at the time, maybe it's changed now. But teachers really report for more services. But I remember at the time, one social worker would have my schools. Very, very, with a variety of just so many needs of kids. So the question is, how is one person going to be able to go around 5 schools? So you had so many of these kids who could not get services at the time. So they started getting services at the end of the school year. In May, and school was going to be out in June. That's when they were assessed for service. So it's not it wasn't the best situation. So I hope, I don't know the details of the contract that the teachers signed, but I just remember, I just hope that one of the things that for services. And my daughter too, she taught there are there are some schools and other schools, obviously. And ours is just some years away. So that's kind of a thing. And so those are some of the situations that I said. So is there anything else, just
Yeah, so,
yes.
so like, as you mentioned, there are also parents who IEP themselves, but to add on to that, there's parents who are still completely in denial and they're trying to, and with the good to that room, and John had mentioned how, when he works, he actually leaves their masters, they can't tell the parents that their child might be an IEP, all they do is, report things, but you can't even like bring it up, so it's really, really hard.
Yeah, I have to, like, I had a kid who definitely was on the spectrum, and guess what, too? I didn't write it enough for him, and one day I heard this silly day, it was raining, and I wrote to be determined for the first activity, complete meltdown, like screaming, kicking, and he's like, nah. He just threw his book bag down, hit the pavement, and just started screaming. So after I got through with that for 3 hours, talked to the mom, and the mom was like, hey, we had a situation. Like, how do you handle this? She's like, oh, just handle it. I was like, but like, it's crying for 3 hours. No one talked. Like, I can't say like your child is having an emotional, like there's something disconnect. I feel like I insinuated without saying it because I am tongue-tied in the sense where I can't say your child needs to get an aid. Please apply for an aid, and it makes things easier for me and everybody. If I say that, I get in trouble. So I have to sit there and like play 20 questions and say, please get your child help or your child will be removed. And I don't know if it's like that at daycare, but I know I can't say that. I know CPS is have more contested, but he was not. Yeah, it's the same thing at the GM where like they're sitting there and just like me and my coworker like staring down the table like, yeah, this kid's not recognizing facial patterns. I'm like, they're 4. We can't say anything. We don't have like the authority. All kinds of minutes, just like we have to say something to the parent because this kid is going down a rocky path. But we're like at the same time, we're just kind of doing damage control, preventing the kid from like flashing out at the other. But it's just difficult because you can't say anything.
Yeah, that's it. Even teachers too. So, documentation is still key. You have to write down everything. That's one of the things that the teaching specialist you have to write down because you have to report everything. So, school, the child, what you did, what the child did. You write it down as I think the child has spectrum is you are writing details about actions, like what this child do, like what you just described. The child just threw down the book bag, was on the ground flailing and screaming for 3 hours. So those are the things, because when somebody goes to read it, they want to say, oh. So when they have such assessment, that's what it is details of what you've done. So, and even teachers cannot say anything. It is psychologists. After reading the report, that will come, they will do an assessment. Then they are the ones who say to the parent, these are the findings of our assessment. This is what we assessed. These are the things that we found. These are the issues. And in terms of language, this is what needs to be. There's help for your child. They cannot promise help unless the school actually has. But if they are they're underage, that means that they're 13, they can get, parents can actually apply for help. So, but everything is led to the psychologist. Not the teacher cannot say, they cannot put it in. It's a no-no. All you do as a teacher is write down everything that you saw. There's usually a school team, trying to go back to your school team. They provide you with strategies to this classroom maybe to help the child, to support the rest of to support the child and the rest of your class. And many times, honestly, it doesn't work. That is the truth. And so teachers are longing for that point when they get to the point where these children are assessed. They cry for it. It's like, I hope the day will come. So the more documentation you do, the better. So that the child can get the help. So yeah, but those are the things that I saw. Social workers just not enough of them to support children. This was just too much for them too. They want to help as well. Was there any discussion?
I totally didn't think to mention this. We had a day, during one of like the first days of school when we kind of have a few institute days. And we had like a special ed like crash course where the two social workers kind of explained to all the teachers, here are some of the classroom management skills that we'll use sometimes. Here's some of the charts and visuals that you can use that come before like an assessment or something like that. And it helped so much with giving like paraprofessionals and teachers who don't have special ed like in their credentials the tools to be able to like make those strides, because then it's easier to tell a parent like so and so benefits a lot off of a behavior chart, or so and so really did not respond well to. I completely forgot I had this on. I literally have like a visual flashcard that I use probably every day across the entire grades. And we notice a lot that if kids like aren't responding to something like that, they're not responding to a behavior chart, then we have to get into, we might need to start assessing, talking to the families. But it is such a gradual process to even get the assessment.
So you have different skills. Then you
I was gonna say I'm actually dealing with 3-year-olds now. I'm trying to get the parents get evaluated. When he first came to me, I do like a placement test for them just to see where they are at their learning level. And he was processing things a little slowly, but he was good. So an incident happened with him, and he like put his head, and he heard it like really, like he heard it bad. He fractured it. His skull. He's fine now, but like I have been evaluating him like a lot. From when he came, he was able to process things kind of like better. Now his behavior has extremely, like once he had the incident and he came back, he is not aware of what he's doing. Today he like broke a toy, like he broke it where like he took the whole thing off and you could see the wire. And I told him, did you do this? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, is this okay? He's like, that. Like he's not aware. And I'm like, what if like I broke one of your toys? How would you feel? But he didn't like with before he was able to process it and say, yeah, but I would feel upset. But he's not, and I'm like, I sit one-on-one with him a lot and just try to teach him, but he's not getting anything. And like I told the mom so many times, I've gotten to a point where I'm like writing down like, you know, today we learned alphabet. he wasn't able, like, I'll show him the letter A, he'll tell me it's number 4. So I'll show him like the letter A and then the number 4, and I'm like, this is letter A, this is number 4, so can you tell me which one A is? He doesn't, like, he can't get it, like, he can't catch what I'm teaching him. And I'm just trying to get the mom to kind of get him evaluated to do something, like, and I even told her, I was like, I can't, like, as working at a daycare, like, we cannot diagnose them. Like, I can see, but we can't say. And it's like, I was like, I don't want to say he has anything, but like, I really think value just to get him help. And I can tell, like, when you said, you can tell the kid crying for help, like, he is definitely crying for help. Like, I can tell that this kid doesn't want to be the way he is. And even though he's 3, he's aware that he knows that, okay, he shouldn't be like this, but he doesn't understand. And until now, I'm still after the mom, trying to get her to put on the son. It's so hard. They'll tell me, okay, I understand, I'll do it. She did. She took him there, and but I don't think they really evaluate him like that. I mean, he's fine now, but his behavior and his learning and like from when he started, and I know like his kind of change, but his extremely like he's not getting anywhere, and he's just sometimes he's silent. And that's what we're thinking, but then again, you know, it's like we can't really say anything. We're just like kind of sitting back and like, please teach him, go get him, or do something. But it's so hard because it's like this is the best we can do, and it's like, what else can we do? You know, so parents not really listening to us. So parents think that that's doesn't want to. That's so several years ago, I was a child was on the she had never taken. So I did tell we were just having class like this and we talked about child mind. That is a particular project that actually makes it educate for the after the class she talked to the institutions, the world. But it was very helpful. Just the job that was that she had, she everybody is going to be not everybody will be there. Unfortunately, they're not listening to it's very sad that there was so now that it's not so unfortunately that there's and I don't know. Let's talk about what you do to support parents who are students who are just not admitting that
So my youngest brother is autistic. And my parents were so adamant, like my other family, like I was just like, yes, and they hear that they tell us, but like because I did not like say, oh yeah, you can't do it. And my mom would just like cry about it. She was like, no, like there's no, like I didn't understand why she would cry because I'm having kids, but I guess having to admit that there might be something going on with the child, it has to be really hard. As his sister, I'm the oldest, so
I'm like always on top of everything that he's doing at school. I go pick him up. I talk to his teachers to like his age, everything. He's doing really well now. But because he got tested so late because my parents were so like in denial about it, he's super behind on like a lot of things, especially like his behavior and like emotional relationships. But it just if I don't know, I guess you just have to insist on having well their parents do it because if they don't, they're never gonna get it.
Like that had, well, when I started this, I was like a young, tiny teen, but like I had this one kid from like 17 to like 22, and then I was switching parts, and I did a goodbye thing for me. I sat with mom. I was like, I'm leaving this part, so whatever I'm gonna say to you, it won't affect me. So I sat down with her, and I was like, I'm listening to your child from 6 years old to 13. Good chunk of their life. And I said, like, they're getting ready to like almost go to high school. I would do best for you. Like I think I was crying at that point. I was like, I just want you to understand something. But this is not Mr. John talking anymore. This is like someone who really, really cares about you, your family, everything. Like, talk to your child. Let's talk to him because I guess she had a denial in the sense where she wouldn't deal with him emotionally. She'll let him have outbursts and just walk away and won't like talk to him like I would. Like he'll try to run away a lot back then and hide behind a tree or climb the tree, and I have to sit under the tree and I would just talk to him about how it feels weird in his head and all these things. I'm like, just talk to your kid. Like I knew it would get me in trouble if I would have stayed in that part, but like talk like please, just like for the betterment of everything, because I know he's brilliant. And I told him that. I started crying. I'm like, I don't think your child's bad. I ended it with like, I don't think your child's bad at all. I think you're doing the greatest job in the world because he makes me laugh every day. And I told her, and like, I just want him to keep making me laugh. You know, and the best way for him to do that is for him to know that you love him, which I know you do, and just support that. And she was like, no one ever told me I've been doing a good job. I'm like, you have been. And that's like, like she was like, you have been doing a great job. Just you cannot do it. You know, and she's like, I thought I was doing a terrible job this whole time. I was like, no, you've been doing great. I've been frustrated with you because you need more help, but like you've been doing great. And I think that's the best way to tell parents is like, you've been doing great. You just can't do this part. It's like it's beyond what your knowledge is. But as a parent, you're doing great. Keep doing great. Get the help. You know, that's how I broke it out there. Like, you're not terrible. Get help. It's not a bad thing. Like it took that long because I was like, man, if I would get fired, I would get fired for this. But like I want that kid to get fired. It's his job. Why would not let that child be another statistic of like he was on a path where he didn't want to go to school no more. I would catch him outside of his school when I tried to pick him up. He would already be in detention, and he'll be like just always doing something bad. I'm like, I don't get it because when you're with me and you run away, like you don't run far. You want me to catch you. So I would tell the parent like they're not bad. I think if we were able to like be more straightforward with parents, like you're doing a great job, but you don't have like ability or skills there. The skills to do this, and they've trained people to do it. Like when a child has a cold or strep throat, take them to a doctor. I think we should still have that same philosophy. Like if something physically wrong with your child, we trust doctors. We trust them to like take care of that child because we don't have the skills to do it. We should have that same mindset when it comes to our child's emotional and cognitive well-being as well. And be like, hey, your child's sick. Make your child someone who's able to help your child.
Yeah.
And she was even ill too, so she understood everything. The doctors did not. This child was seizures, but each time she went to the doctor, seizure would have. So doctors didn't believe that. so they thought it was impacted. They thought that she was making impressions with children, especially children. So it was very difficult. I think this kid was, the child was around 6 weeks now. When she took the child from right there. That was, but so many. For her, for me, she was telling us how it was. Because that's their daughter first. So she was telling us how it happened. She thought that it was her fault. She had the so-called perfect child. It's so hard when you now take something that's outside of yourself.
I was gonna say, I've noticed that the parents who have special ed students and students that need services, the more that they connect with each other, the more that they're able to feel like they have a network of like safe spaces that they can confide in, they can relate to. We had one mom in the preschool whose son would come and crying every day because he hated how his socks felt. They just bothered his feet. And it took one of the aides who had a son with a disability to say, like, turn the sock inside out, or, here's another method that I've used. And even that just opened up a relationship for that parent and that aide to say, like, now whenever I have a question or whenever I have an issue, I know I can come to you because you've been through something similar and you can also relate to my worry. I think a lot of the times parents maybe want to be there more for their kid, but they don't know how, and so they kind of step back, and it's doing more, sometimes does more damage than good. But giving them another person or another family that they can feel like, okay, I'm not alone in this, so and so's going through this as well, maybe I can use them as an outlet.
That's community that helps you. When you want, especially if it's even if it's an acquired situation, then you have to do that in the child. It's a different situation, but still, you still need to be people around you. You need people who can support you, people who know how you yourself or you out. Tell you that you're doing okay, you're fine. You know what I mean? Disabilities in children are both situations. Somebody just get handed. So those are some difficult situations.
Well, I just wanted to this is the hairstylist. She first found out that she was pregnant. She thought that, and they came a couple months later. She noticed that the not reacting to like, trying to hand it something that wasn't. So she ended up taking the baby to the doctor with her husband. They did tests. They found out that the husband had disability in his blood. So it came from his bloodline, which is why her baby. And he didn't want to believe that it was him. So he's like, the doctor's not everything. She's like, how are you upset that the doctor said that you have to do disability? And he ended up leaving, and she had to take over the responsibility of making sure that the baby is developing the right way. They told her that the baby would not be able to walk, talk, communicate. And she literally had to teach the baby how to walk and communicating by using sign language. So, like, I know a little bit of sign language because of this situation. So I know, like, this is more, and
it's just like so amazing. Like that's her testimony that he just took on that responsibility on her own. She had to go learn everything by herself because somebody did not help her. You know?
I mean, it just makes that of it. It's just so difficult not to put it on the table. Who is not for all. So you don't know what's thinking, what's going on, guess all the time. Like when the name is not used, all the time. It just, I think it's sometimes just feels like what's something out there. So as a teacher, you have to keep encouraging. I think what John said is to the parents, even though you look at this situation and you think, forget about that part and just encourage them that they're doing a good job, they're putting food on the table, they're taking care of each other, making sure that the child is bathed and clean and put the clothes on the back of the child. So it's just to really encourage them. How about you have your let's finish up with chapter 15. So chapter 15 looks at just situations that can really that can cause a lot of tension in teachers.
Yeah, so the chapter discusses possible ways so if I can summarize all the stuff we talked about, and this applies to represent or state policy stick to the facts. Deconstruct with effort.
So who has had experiences with parents with tension? Speak up now. I know that Nina is the first one. Sure.
I feel with a couple parents, I mean, I've always learned, like my grandparents always let the parent have the last word, like always say that the parent is right, even though they're wrong. I mean, I've had a decent with the parent, like, kind of argue me, their child was bit another child, then he was like, my child never bites. And she never did this and this, and it's like, okay, I'm not gonna go back and forth with you, I'm just gonna let you. But there are times where it's like, I want to just tell you that you're wrong and why, but it's like, we have to just be professional and just let them, I guess, have their last word, but yeah, I had a couple where I just had to bite my tongue, let them, you think that? I mean, there was an incident, where there was she just turned 4 and she told her mom that like when she leaves, I'm yelling at her and I'm like hitting her and I'm nice to her and all that stuff. She's home with her mom, like Christina's doing this and this to me. So she comes the next day and she doesn't talk to me. She talks to another teacher about me. So I overheard the conversation, but like I state that the teacher comes and she's like, the mom wants to talk to you after like this for trial. Like that's fine. I went to my director of like, this is what said one of the infants didn't even tell me when she saw me in the classroom. She's like, okay, we'll talk to her when she comes to her child. I was like, okay. Comes to fix up her child, and I was like, well, I heard you had some concerns. And I was like, I just want to let you know that I am very like friendly with the kids. She just started. She's always coming to the classroom, always asking, always giving good like feedback about her daughter, not saying anything. And like, I don't know, like how else to explain it to the mom that you're really believing your 4-year-old daughter, and you're not like at least coming to me professionally and like, like my daughter said this. I don't want to believe her, but like, just like talking to me maturely instead of going up to a teacher and telling her instead of kind of being mature. And I let her, and then the director talked to her and she was like, I don't hire any teachers that I know that are like this. I was like, I hire good qualified teachers that are good for this job. So the next day, like, the director said, tell your daughter, in front of the lesson, in front of the teacher, in front of me, that how was her day. So I stood there and the mom told the daughter, how was your day today? And the daughter looked at me, she was embarrassed. She said that, oh, I just said something that I should have done. And she's like, no, I had a really good day. So that point, I was like, it's like, oh, I'm so sorry, my daughter's lied to me, and I her. Like these little things that they just come and they talk to us about. And like I said, we just have to look up. Stuff like, have your word.
I gotta say, this is my favorite difficult character I used to have. Like this mom didn't believe in my credentials, didn't believe I was doing the job so long, doesn't believe that I was able to do, the things I do, the things I teach. So every day, I always greet everyone in the morning, bring them upstairs, I let parents come in the classroom for a little bit for 10 minutes, but she'll send emails like, I don't feel comfortable with a man being my child for this long by himself. And she would grill me every day after class with like the donkey stuff, and then she'll come back like, so what do you guys do today? You guys are at this point to this point, and I started on your agenda that you're supposed to be over there, but then you went over here. Well, I was taking my kid over there, and I had to explain to her. Like I was always like, well, we had a bathroom break, so someone else needs this bathroom. So instead of getting there all the way and being late for pickup, I decided to do half of the walk on my nature walk to the zoo, and I did X, Y, and Z like exhibits instead of doing a long way around like I normally do. And she'll pop up on my walks. She never gave me the benefit of the doubt. This was 16 straight weeks to the point where when she signed up for the next session, I denied her. I denied her child. I told my supervisor talked to her professionally, but I removed the situation at that point because every day it was, she'll tell the other nannies, she'll tell the other moms that like, how can a grown man take all these little preschoolers by himself to the zoo and explain to them the animals? I literally had the zoo people at the zoo who knew me would like take us to special exhibits so we could feed the animals, like the gibbonings and stuff like that. And she's like, no, there's no way to take my child into a private area to feed animals. Like she would literally grill me, and I'm like, how do I please this woman but be happy and to give her an explanation throughout the whole day that she didn't believe in my own abilities? And I'm like, okay. And like I feel like I get that pretty often from parents, just because I do early childhood in the male and I'm alone because I don't have no aide in my class, it's just me. So a lot of times they'll give me looks like, oh, even if I close the door, okay, all the parents may leave. It's time for me to do the rest of my like structured class time. And they'll look at me for a moment, like, oh, I don't feel comfortable. I'm like, well, you can stay. But after like 2 times, I'm like, if you don't feel comfortable, like I want to say out loud, like they don't come, but I can't say that. So I was like, hey, they don't seem to be comfortable being teaching the class, and they always like, well, I thought so and so would teach like a female teacher that we have a human as well. So no, I teach the class very friendly. Everyone's super nice. The kids give me high fives. They sneak up on me when they're leaving, and I'm like, okay, cool, pat them on the head, or like push them off, like, don't linger. Then I'm out, and they still question me. I get emails, like, my boss get emails about me, like, well, my child talks a lot about this Mr. John when they're at home. I'm like, yo, that's actually a good thing, right? But no, like, I had this one parent, like, downtown, supervisor, and her boss, like, she kept going. And all they could do was, like, smile and just be professional and document everything that I did. Anything I changed anything, a route, or I decided to change the activity in the classroom, I made sure I sent the email the same day. Like, oh, we're supposed to be doing Play-Doh art, but we're going to do finger painting instead. Just so that I can show to her that I am documenting everything, because she just didn't believe me. And it was weird. It was like 16 weeks of just that. Worst parent. Worst.
Yeah.
I love my parents. Sometimes some of them.
But sometimes, like, really?
They be challenging me on the weirdest things. Lunchtime.
Yes, my first year substituting, I had a parent who, it was her daughter's first time ever in preschool, 3-year-old program, first time ever. This mom was insistent that her child start kindergarten. And it was my first time ever, like, leading a room. And she would cut, I was like, let her, like, have a moment, like, she's making friends, she's making strides. I'm like, at least from the, 2 weeks we've been in school that I've observed, period.
It's not smart.
I'm like, I think that she's gonna be okay. She would bring homework from home. She would try to show me videos, like, look, she's counting, she's doing this. And so that was a very odd situation that I felt like it was tense, but it was tense only because we both wanted what was best for the child, and it was just so backwards. And she didn't even end up staying at the school. It was so sad. She went through a whole process, got her moved after. She didn't go to 4-year-old preschool. She ended up going to kindergarten and was only there for like a month and ended up moving.
Those
I know. Like, you guys
This is
all
not challenging my child, so they need to go. I'm like, why? Why do it? My
So,
child's just smart.
I know that schools are trying to do like that happen. Make sure that you tell rector, your principal, try not to use like something. Once, if you don't tell people when you do an activity, anytime you see situation that's beginning to occur, you make sure that we not is very well. Principals are supposed to bring to students also the roles the school team. That's very helpful because afterwards it's not just involve them in many ways to induce them so that you can engage. But when they engage them, they will see whether they're going up. So how about you? So things like that. So always like, wow, this has been a lot of fun to me. These are some of the best jobs. We are giving the deal. All of them are real. So we are not here. I wanted to know Now for the presentation, from and what to do. Going to have 7 weeks on group. To be able to present. But I find it very first. So make sure that we no one gets one for clicking mouse.
That's my favorite.
And I'm working on waiting
Worst way to bring the. No, really. Yes. Up here.